Good afternoon slash evening. Um, so in this video, I'm going to talk about a cryptid, a mythical monster that have been interested in since I was younger. It's one of the first um, like mystery monsters that I first got into. When I was younger, I there was a book in my nana's house of unknown mysteries, and in this book there was like pictures of Bigfoot, articles on the Loch Ness monster, like witches, ghosts, demons, giants, all these kind of things. And I think seeing that and going through that book is what really struck my interest into things like kind of strange and unknown and bizarre. Um, and what used to be taboo in back in the day, not back in my day, but centuries ago. If you was to be associated with certain things that shouldn't be around or were not to believe to exist, you could be persecuted for it. So in this episode, in this video, I want to talk about the Loch Ness monster. Now, this is one of the big ones. Loch Ness monster, Bigfoot. Those are like massive, huge ones in terms of unknown monsters or unknown creatures. Um, everyone has heard of the Loch Ness monster. Everyone's heard of Bigfoot. Now, the Loch Ness monster one is very interesting. So, if you don't know a lot about the Loch Ness monster, then stick around because I'm gonna make this very very easy watching. I'm not gonna make it very long. I'm just gonna give my opinions and a bit of backstory on it. So the Loch Ness monster has been sighted for over 1,500 years. Um, so you know, years and years ago, people that were at sea did make stories and draw carvings of being attacked by a large sea monster that now does resemble somewhat like what we now depict as the Loch Ness monster. Now, back in the 20th century, um, that famous photo of what they call now as Nessie, we know was a hoax. So that very famous picture was actually a hoax. However, before that picture, there were sightings of the Loch Ness monster. So the only reason that picture was hoaxed is because they just wanted the people that hoaxed this. It's nicknamed the surgeon's photo. So a well-known surgeon was involved. A child was involved, and I believe another adult was involved in getting this picture together. So even though that picture was a hoax, there were sightings before that picture and there were sightings after it, and there have since been multiple pictures of Loch Ness monster and videos since that as well. So the Loch Ness monster isn't a hoax in my mind. Um, Again, people still report it, people still see it. Now there have been a lot of exhibitions and research trips and documentaries where I think there's been I've seen a good handful of Loch Ness monster documentaries, and I know there's been a lot of scientific adventures through the loch in Scotland. And there has been a lot of footage, of video footage, and I can see some of it you kind of go to some of the videos and footage really do make you think, yeah, okay, I can't really explain that. But there are some videos out there that you can attribute to a very large wake in the water, or I think one of the best examples I've seen is of kind of crooked shaped logs that get caught in the wake and are are rolling along with the water. Um, Now, I believe that there is something in the loch, or several things in the loch. Um, I think water is the biggest place to have undiscovered creatures. It's all well and good to have Bigfoot, big cats in the UK, chupacabra and stuff. Those are also well known mysteries in the world. But in terms of undiscovered species, I think water is probably the biggest place to have undiscovered species. Now, I think that could attribute to some of the Loch Ness monster sightings. There is an animal in the loch that it isn't seen that often, but when it does, it's wow, look at that, that's different, that's big. Um, Now here's the thing: a lot of people, it has been depicted as looking exactly like a plesiosaur, a plesiosaurus. Now, even the plesiosaurus isn't a dinosaur; it was around in the Jurassic period. And if you know me, if you know my channel, I'm obsessed with dinosaurs. Now, I think it would be fantastic if there was a creature or an animal, a marine reptile that was, a very, very long relative of the plesiosaur, or even was a plesiosaur, um, just for my love of prehistoric animals. Um, but people are seeing something. I believe something is in the loch, or multiple things are in the loch. Um, I think this could be nailed down to just, an animal that isn't known to science, or an undiscovered animal. And I've seen several documentaries where people say, well, some people laugh at things like this, but then all of a sudden, like, there are certain things that people didn't believe in, or were used to be myths, and then, oh, a body's turned up, it's real, it's there. Um, and people, all of a sudden, it's like, oh, right, okay. And it's now added as a scientific, animal known to science. So, especially in waters, I don't think it's far-fetched to think of, an undiscovered creature that could be in the loch. Not just in the loch, in seas, in oceans, in lakes and rivers. There's probably, undiscovered species of fish or whales or even sharks, that we don't know about. But the thing is with the loch is very, very deep. I think it's like 750 meters deep at its deepest. Um, I mean, anything could be lurking. I'm not saying that it's a big, a massive plesiosaur monster. Do you know what? Even if it is a plesiosaur, or a plesiosaur-like animal, it's not a monster. It's an animal or a marine reptile. It's not good, it's not out there to scare people or kill people. It will just be an animal doing what it does. So I personally, I would love it for it to be a plesiosaur, or a plesiosaur-like creature, um, but we will never know. Um, well, from what people have had sightings for 1,500 years, and there's not been a solid picture that, okay, that picture proves it, or a sample, or a DNA, or a carcass. Now that leads me on to my next point. I watched a documentary recently. I think I've seen it before, so it was a rewatch. And there's this old man he's done over 30 what he calls exhibitions of the loch. Um, and in his second to last one, he put he put the camera, a waterproof camera, down the side of his boat, and it went into the depths of the loch. And one of the pictures that he brought up was a picture of what looked like a carcass of an animal, and it did look like a very similar shape to what the Loch Ness monster apparently looks like, a plesiosaur. Now, this baffled me, because I don't know why this picture hasn't been, hammered out there in the world. Because in my opinion, this is probably, I mean, yeah, okay, it could be just a massive lump of clay or a lump of earth that's just in the shape, of what looks like a dead marine reptile, or even a plesiosaur-like creature. But I think that, there's probably a lot of people out there that haven't seen this picture, or don't even know it exists. So if you search online, Loch Ness monster carcass found, this picture will probably come up, and it looks, it's very, very interesting. It does make you squint and think, okay, that looks a bit bizarre. That does look like a carcass at the bottom of the ocean. not the ocean, the bottom of the loch. But yeah, when I saw that, I kind of thought, what and why hasn't more people mentioned this, or why isn't it being talked about a lot more? I don't know. To me, that it wasn't the smoking gun, but it was certainly something that deserved a lot more talk about than just stumbling on it across it on a documentary. I thought I would have heard about it years ago. Um, so yeah, I've been rambling on about Loch Ness monster now. Kind of gone off. I did have a little structure to this video, but my passion just went with me. So Loch Ness monster. If you're into these type of things, phenomena, mysteries, unknown creatures, um, if there's any particular one you want me to talk about or you think I should talk about next, let me know. Um, what do you think? Do you think that there is an undiscovered animal in the loch or even in several waters around the world? Or do you think it's just a known creature that's being misidentified? Or do you think we have a plesiosaur living? That'd be nice, wouldn't it? Anyway, thanks for watching, and I'll see you again.